A warning from AC 360. First off, thanks for watching News Nation. We promise never to speak down to you or think ourselves smarter than you, as others on cable news do. That goes for those who support Trump or Biden or Mike Pence or Robert Kennedy. We treat you with respect. Not only do we respect you, we fairly represent all opinions. That's what happened in 2016. The disrespect, the lack of representing all opinions. And it's happening again. Sure, CNN will tell you what Trump says, but then they will make fun of it. They'll make fun of him, and they'll make fun of you for supporting him. Shermichael Singleton's here, consultant on Mitt Romney's 2012 race, now radio host on Sirius XM, 2 to 3 Eastern tomorrow, correct?
Yep, that's right.
All right, there we go. What is it? The media just can't help themselves, or they just don't get it?
You know, look, I know Anderson Cooper. I started television with CNN, and I think he's a good person. But I do think he, like I did, saw all of the angst on social media, and I think he felt necessary to respond to that, Leland. And I think as an anchor, as a host, I think that's a pretty decent thing to say, hey, maybe you didn't like this, but this guy may be the president again, which is what he said.
Yeah, but what I thought was interesting was, this is what he said about it being, quote unquote, disturbing. Take a listen.
Many of you are upset that someone who attempted to destroy our democracy was invited to sit on a stage in front of a crowd of Republican voters to answer questions and predictably continued to spew lie after lie after lie. And I get it. It was disturbing.
But he's then saying the 50% of America who support Donald Trump, they then are disturbing. And somehow he thinks less of them for... And by extension, his viewers should think less of them for supporting Donald Trump.
I would view it very differently than that, Leland. I think he was talking about Trump himself. I mean, I know Republicans who are commentators for CNN who are extremely conservative people and go on almost daily, including on Anderson Cooper's show, and they don't seem to have any issues. So my interpretation of what I heard was that he was talking about Trump. And in that regard, many Republicans that I spoke with after the town hall, including consultants, including donors, agreed, like, God, I wish we could move on to someone else, preferably Ron DeSantis.
Well, look, there's a lot of people in the donor class, right, who believe that, except he's polling it, Donald Trump's polling at 60%,
is likely going to be the
which
nominee.
is 3 times as much. Yeah. But I think about where Trump won 2016, county by county. It is a vast red swath.
Yeah.
Has the media and coverage changed to now understand the voters who switched in places like Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio, through Michigan? I didn't, in all the analysis of the Trump town hall, I didn't see even an effort to understand why 60% of Republicans think he should be the nominee, and for that matter, why he's up against Biden by 6 points.
That's a really good point. I don't think the mainstream media, whether it's liberal-leaning or even Fox, and I watch a lot of Fox as well as I watch you, no one, I would argue, in that media class is really taking the time to ask, well, what is it about this person that you like? Why do you think we're moving in the wrong direction? Why him over the several other Republicans who have announced, who may announce? Why him? The only person that I've actually seen to ask those tough questions is the poster, Frank Luntz. He's the only person that I have seen ask that question.
I'll tell you, I'll give you the answer I get when I talk to folks, and I'll give you the last word. But people say, because I feel like he's fighting for me, and I feel like he doesn't speak down to me.
Yeah. Look, I'll say this in closing. Trump is a wealthy person. A wealthy person who somehow has a really uncanny, unique ability to relate to everyday people, Leland. And people may say, sure, he doesn't always tell the truth. I don't care. Sure, he says things that I don't like. I don't care. But he defends me.
Right.
And whether you're black, whether you're white, everybody at the end of the day wants someone that they can look to and say, you're fighting for me. And I think Trump does that very well.
Yeah, well said. Good
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.